Addition and subtraction. In our world, where there are more and more faces, more and more alike, it is difficult for an individual to reinforce the originality of the self and to become convinced of its inimitable uniqueness. There are two methods for cultivating the uniqueness of the self: the method of addition and the method of subtraction. Agnes subtracts from herself everything that is exterior and borrowed in order to come closer to her sheer essence, even with the risk that zero lurks at the bottom of the subtraction. Laura's method is precisely the opposite. In order to make herself ever more visible, perceivable, seizable, sizable, she keeps adding to it more and more attributes, and she attempts to identify herself with them, with the risk that the essence of the self may be buried by the additional attributes. Let's take her cat as an example. After her divorce, Laura remained alone in a large apartment and felt lonely. She longed for a pet to share her solitude. First she thought of a dog, but soon realized that a dog needed the kind of care she would be unable to provide, and so she got a cat. It was a big Siamese cat, beautiful and wicked. As she lived with the cat and regaled her friends with stories about it, the animal that she had picked more or less by accident, without any special conviction — after all, her first choice was a dog — took on an ever-growing significance. She began to lavish praise on her pet and forced everyone to admire it. She saw in the cat a superb independence, pride, freedom of action, and constancy of charm, so different from human charm, which is always spoiled by moments of clumsiness and unattractiveness. In the cat, she saw her paradigm. In the cat, she saw herself. It is not at all important whether Laura's nature resembled that of a cat or not. The important thing is that she made the cat part of her coat of arms, and the cat, love for the cat, apologias for the cat, became one of the attributes of herself. From the beginning, many of her lovers were irritated by this egocentric and evil animal, which would spit and scratch for no apparent reason. And so the cat became an acid test of Laura's power, as if she wanted to tell everyone, "You can have me, but the way I really am," and that includes the cat. The cat became the image of her soul, and a lover had to accept her soul if he wished to have her body. The method of addition is quite charming if it involves adding to the self such things as a cat, a dog, roast pork, love of the sea, or of cold showers. But the matter becomes less idyllic if a person decides to add love for communism, for the homeland, for Mussolini, for Catholicism or atheism, for fascism or anti-fascism. In both cases, the method remains exactly the same. A person stubbornly defending the superiority of cats over other animals is doing basically the same thing as one who maintains that Mussolini was the sole savior of Italy. He is proud of this attribute of the self, and he tries to make this attribute, a cat or Mussolini, acknowledged and loved by everyone. Here is that strange paradox to which all people cultivating the self by way of the addition method are subject. They use addition in order to create a unique, inimitable self, yet because they automatically become propagandists for the added attributes, they are actually doing everything in their power to make as many others as possible similar to themselves. As a result, their uniqueness, so painfully gained, quickly begins to disappear. We may ask ourselves why a person who loves a cat or Mussolini is not satisfied to keep his love to himself and wants to force it on others. Let us seek the answer by recalling the young woman in the sauna who belligerently asserted that she loved cold showers. She thereby managed to differentiate herself at once from one half of the human race, namely the half that prefers hot showers. Unfortunately, that other half now resembled her all the more. Alas, how sad! Many people, few ideas. So how are we to differentiate ourselves from one another? The young woman knew only one way of overcoming the disadvantage of her similarity, to that enormous throng devoted to cold showers, she had to proclaim her credo. I adore cold showers, as soon as she appeared in the door of the sauna, and to proclaim it with such fervor as to make the millions of other women who also enjoy cold showers seem like pale imitations of herself. Let me put it another way. A mere, simple and innocent love for showers can become an attribute of the self only on condition that we let the world know we are ready to fight for it. The one who chooses as an attribute of the self a love for Mussolini becomes a political warrior, while the partisan of cats, music, or antique furniture bestows gifts on his surroundings. Imagine that you have a friend who loves Schumann and hates Schubert, while you madly love Schubert and Schumann bores you to tears. What kind of record would you give your friend as a birthday gift? The Schumann he loves or the Schubert you adore? Schubert, of course! If you gave him a record of Schumann, you'd have the unpleasant feeling that such a gift would not be sincere and would be more like a bribe calculated to flatter your friend. After all, when you give someone a present, you want to do so out of love. You want to give your friend a piece of yourself, a piece of your heart. And so you give him Schubert's Unfinished. And the moment you leave, he'll spit on it, put on a rubber glove, gingerly pick up the record with 2 fingers, and throw it to the wastebasket. In the course of several years, Laura presented her sister and brother-in-law with a set of plates and dishes, a tea service, a fruit basket, a lamp, a rocking chair, about 5 ashtrays, a tablecloth, but above all, a piano, which 2 husky men hauled in one day as a surprise and asked where to put it. Laura beamed. I wanted to give you something that will force you to think of me even when I'm not with you. After the divorce, Laura spent all her free time at her sister's. She devoted herself to Bridget as if she were her own daughter, and when she bought her sister the piano, it was mainly because she wanted to teach her niece how to play. Bridget, however, hated the piano. Agnes was afraid that this might hurt Laura's feelings, and she therefore pleaded with her daughter to use her willpower and try to display some enthusiasm for those black and white keys. Bridget objected. Am I supposed to learn to play just to please her? And so the whole affair ended badly. And after a few months, the piano was reduced to a mere show object, or rather a nuisance object, to a sad reminder of a failure, to a big, white body, yes, the piano was white, that nobody wanted. To tell the truth, Agnes liked neither the tea service nor the rocking chair nor the piano. Not that those gifts were in bad taste, but they all had something eccentric about them that wasn't in keeping with Agnes's character or her interests. She therefore responded with sincere joy, but also with selfish relief after the piano had already been standing in her apartment untouched for 6 years, when Laura became involved with Bernard, Paul's young friend. She sensed that someone happily in love would have better things to do than shower gifts on a sister or try to educate a niece.